It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
Welcome to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 163 today. Really glad that you are with us. We look forward to this time every single week, and here you are, and here we are, ready to enjoy together clothes-free and living for all of the right reasons for the next hour. How about that? Well, on today's show, Lisa Monroe is walking in right now as we speak. We will get to her segment in just a moment. And then we will have part two of my interview with Naturism cartoonist, artist from Vancouver, RENE Bellamy. He has quite a series going, up to 120 drawings already. And with that, I don't know about you, but I hear music under my voice. Do you hear it? Let's listen together and see if we hear it. Oh yes, there it is. Plain as day, that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our Naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one of a kind, the one and only, the completely clothes-free and fully smiling, our Naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
I'm doing terrific, and I almost got you again, didn't I?
Yeah, close. We had a little something that occurred right before I started to speak, and I was able to get my wits about me, unlike the other day where I wasn't expecting it. Today I was kind of expecting it. I still almost lost it, but we made it through.
Yes,
and we got
did.
through with the professional intro of Lisa Monroe. How about that?
We certainly did. You're always the consummate professional.
Well, I try.
Even though I try.
Exactly. There are people amongst us here, no names, Lisa, who try to throw me off, derail me a bit. And we actually got a lot of funny comments about that. People enjoyed it. And I think because it was genuine, that was not staged or...
Yeah, he's trying very hard not to lose it here, and I'm trying very hard to get him to. So we'll be okay. We'll get him again. I promise.
Well, don't forget there is payback coming. We just don't know when, do we? I might know when, but you don't.
Well, we will see how that goes.
That's the most important thing. Okay. I want to start today off with a story.
Okay.
That I think you will enjoy, and I know the listeners will enjoy. How many hours a day do we communicate in one form or another? 27, 28, 50?
Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Constant communication. Yet I don't think I've ever told you this story, but I'm not sure. Maybe I have. I don't know. When I go grocery shopping when it's hot, and it's not hot now, so this does not apply to today, I will drive there with no shirt on, get to the grocery store, get out of the van, put my shirt on, go in and shop. Come back to the car. Before I load the groceries into the car, I take my shirt off. So my shirt in the car and load the groceries, because I just don't like being hot and sweaty and sticky. And it gets like that down here. And if you have clothes on, it's even worse.
Yes.
And as a male in the USA society, I can do that. It's legal, not inappropriate. Yeah, not inappropriate at all. And we can have that discussion for the next 3 hours, but not today.
No.
We've had that kind of sort of before. We'll get into it again down the road. So no problem. I've done that for years. Well, there's a guy who wrote into the equivalent of Dear Abby or Ann Landers. Remember those two ladies?
I sure do.
Advice columns. And I don't know who does it now. They've had several iterations. I think there was a man who replaced Ann Landers or Dear Abby or one of them years ago. And I don't know who's writing the columns anymore. I think it is a woman because it has a woman's picture and a woman's name, but honestly, who knows who's doing these columns? You never see these people.
Could be AI for all we know at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, this guy wrote in and described the scenario that I just described He goes grocery shopping, brings his groceries to the car. Before he puts them in the car, he takes his shirt off, loads the groceries, returns the basket to a cart area, and then gets in and drives away. And he said, is it appropriate for me to take my shirt off in the parking lot and load my groceries? Is that appropriate? And her answer was, well, I don't know. Send me a picture of yourself with no shirt and I'll let you know.
Now that's funny. Ah,
Yeah, not the answer I was expecting, but it cracked me up and it cracked you up just now. So why
it
not?
sure did. No, I wasn't expecting that either. I was expecting her to give some, social respectability type thing or something. But no, maybe send me that picture and I'll tell you. I like that. That was a great
Okay.
answer. That
Yeah,
was a great
yeah,
answer.
I like that one a lot. So the other one I wanted to mention, as you know, when you go to Twitter, you fire up Twitter, you don't know what's going to pop up half the time.
Oh, never.
And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's nondescript, sometimes it's bad. And if it's bad, you move on. Good, you look at it or read it. And nondescript, you have a choice. At least I do. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Right.
Well, I have followed, for whatever reason, I'm sure it was ingrained in me through my parents, I have followed leaders in leadership and studied it formally. It's one of my degrees is in leadership. Two of my degrees actually are in leadership. And so I studied it formally, but also, even to this day, I study that informally. I study everybody who's in leadership. What do you do? What do you not do? What do you ignore? Why are you ignoring it? I ask myself all these kinds of questions, mostly so I can learn. Because as much as I think I know, other people might, debate that for a while, but as much as I think I know, I'm pretty convinced there's a lot more for me to learn. So I study football coaches. Why, after that play, did he not talk to that player who just blew it or who just made a great play? He didn't talk to that player. There has to be a reason. Why did he talk to that player? There has to be a reason. So I'm always trying to figure out these nuances of leadership because that's what makes you an effective leader.
Yes.
And one of the people I always followed, a lot of people don't think of him necessarily as a leader, but he was a big time leader and probably still is the basketball player Michael Jordan. You know that name, right?
Very much so.
Yeah. He was not going to stand for losing. We are here to win this game. We are here to defeat the other team, and we're going to do it. And if we don't, there's going to be heck to pay, and I'm going to be the guy leading the charge. And I read a story early on in his career, as great as he was, averaging 30 points a game. He was the last player to leave the court at night after practice. Now, that is amazing to me. The best player in the game, he could have walked off the court first. Okay, I'm a superstar. I'm done. Have a nice day. But he was always the last one. No one's going to outwork him. And so that was part of his leadership style. I'm going to work my butt off till I get this right. You guys ought to be doing the same thing, by the way, but for sure I'm doing it. So I found something on Twitter this morning. The price of winning. Is I don't know if it was written by Michael Jordan or he spoke it and somebody else wrote it out. And he said, winning has a price. Leadership has a price. Now, remember, I've been in leadership forever. And so this hits home to me. People ask me if I was too hard on my teammates. They say I was a tyrant. I've been called that in other names throughout my career as well. But I wanted to win, and I wanted them to win. See, that's the kind of leadership I like. I pulled people along when they didn't want to be pulled along. Been there, done that too.
Yes.
I actually told people, we're going to run through that brick wall. And if you want to know how we're going to do it, I'll explain, or you could just get behind me and let's go. But end of the day, we're going to be running through that brick wall. I challenged them when they didn't want to be challenged. Been there, done that. Got called a few names because of it. I'm sure he did too, at least behind his back. Here's a big one. You can't be a nice guy and expect to dominate. Maybe just let that sit on its own for a bit.
It's true.
Because I was actually told by bosses early on, you got to calm down. You got to try to make people feel good about themselves. I said, but we're not going to win that way. We'll have a bunch of people feeling really good about finishing in fifth place. Or they can be ticked off and finish in first. Which way do you want to go? And then he ends up by saying, if you don't want to stand in the fire, then don't play the game. But don't expect the trophy if you aren't willing to pay the price. That's from Michael Jordan, the basketball player. You don't think of him as a philosopher or an expert on leadership, but doggone it, he was, and he put it into words. And I guess the reason I'm mentioning that is that there's leadership all over the world. There's leadership here at the studio. Is there
Yes.
any point where I, for example, or yourself have said, you know what, it's good enough. What the heck? Let's just go home and have a good night's sleep and we'll do something else tomorrow. Those words
Uh,
have never been spoken, have they?
Not to my knowledge
Right.
ever, and I don't expect them to ever be said here because, what's the point? If you're not going to do it to the best of your ability, you're not going to strive to do it correctly, why bother? It's just, find something else to do in life because if you don't do that, you give only half of what you're capable of, and that's not good enough. It's just
No,
not.
no. And often leaders in leadership positions bring in their friends and their buddies and their pals to do whatever.
Hmm.
And I had a really good friend of mine. She was a friend of the family, knew everybody in my family. And she had gone to college a little bit later in life and got her degree. And she was perfectly suited for a position I had open.
Okay.
So there you go. Marriage made in
Hmm.
heaven. She'll come in and
Right.
apply. I'll give her the job. We'll move on. Well, she came in and it was an absolutely awful interview. She didn't know half of what she needed to know for the interview,
Oh
whether she
my.
had never learned it, whether she didn't do her research, whether she thought she had it in the bag because, Frank's going to be the boss and he's the
Yeah.
decider.
You won't care.
Yeah. And then these other people came in, men and women, who just sailed above her. It's like, whoa, these
Hmm.
people are superstars. She tanked it. Now, everybody expected me to pick her anyway because she's my
Hmm.
friend. I didn't.
I'm
I
sure
did
you
not.
didn't.
Yeah, I did not pick my friend. I picked the person who was best for the job. Of course, she was a little upset. Like, you got to be kidding. I thought this was a done
Yeah.
deal. I said, well,
Yeah.
that might be our problem here. You got to come in and win.
Yeah.
So I've been there before and done that. So you can't do that in leadership. And we certainly don't do that here. We don't accept anything less than, I don't want to say perfection because that's kind of a word that's loosely tossed around, but we work our fannies off. Yeah, I said the word.
Yes,
We
you did.
work our
And it's
fannies
true.
off. Yeah. And we get it done. And I know you're wired the same way.
I am, and I've been told the same thing. Back off a little bit. You can't do this. These people can only do so much, and I said, no, they can't. They can do a whole lot more. And I was never I didn't stand over anyone's shoulder. I was never a micromanager. I really despise micromanaging. But if I gave them a task, I expected it to be done. And if it wasn't done, then they had to explain to me why they hadn't done it. And then we figured out, can you do it? Do I need to give it to someone else who can? And guess what? Most of the time, if you give people the responsibility, a lot of times they will grow to it because, especially if you show that same determination in what you need to do, or you'll jump in and help them or whatever, because that's what leaders do. They
Mhm.
they lead by example, not by word. And that's what Michael Jordan was doing. He was leading by example. He stayed on that floor until the lights were out. And that's pretty much what we need to do if we're going to succeed.
Yeah. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that a lot of people have hit us up like, how do you guys do all that you do? We can't
Right.
do as much. And I say, baloney, you could do 10 times what we do, but you have to change how you approach things. So it's all
Exactly.
about leadership and getting things done. And I just thought I'd put it out there. But let's move on for now
Yes.
into
Yes.
the naked stuff.
Yes. Yes. Well, we're
Everybody
naked while we're
knows
talking, so that kind of counts.
that. Oh, yeah, that fully counts. Yeah. Well, everybody knows we gave up decently paid work to do this show for free, but we turned to the listener, say, hey, could you help us out, at least meet expenses? And we've done that, and you've done that. And on each show, we try to highlight a couple of people. Lisa Monroe, who do we have today?
We have Jay, the initial J, Guy Movita, and Mike. And I believe Jay has been around with us for a while and sort of moved up the ranks a little bit. And we really appreciate that. And we appreciate Mike coming on board and everybody who's been helping us out.
Yeah, very much so. We thank you, Jay. We thank you, Mike. And we thank each person who's part of our PPPs, our paying Patreon peeps. And don't forget the highest level of the PPPs. You get video now. You get at least 2 a month. That will increase. But for now, it's 2 a month. So we thank you for everything to help us meet expenses here. Lisa Monroe, rather than go through merchandise like we normally do, we just have a whole bunch of stuff with NNN or Naked Nudists and Naturist, coffee mugs, hats, you name it, it's here. How do people find that page?
They go to nakednudistandnaturist.com, click on NNN Shop, and browse to your little heart's content, and then hit purchase. No, no, browse. And if you want something great, if you don't, that's fine too. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope you do that. We have our Naked Nudist and Naturist coffee mugs here in the studio. Coffee does taste better when consumed out of one of those mugs. No scientific research to back that up, but it's our story. We're sticking to it, right?
Yeah, we certainly are.
All right. We have a number of letters today. The first one is from Clinton. I like this guy already. Frank and Lisa is how he starts off. He's the man. Clinton, you are my best buddy today. I have been a listener since the podcast was in the single digits. Holy cow, that's like 1,000 years ago.
It feels like it.
Yes. 163 today. Thank you so much for the entertaining, informative episodes week in and week out. I've been a member of Anna and Indiana Naturist for a few years. I'd like to chime in on the issue of your images. Deciding if you should be out there for the world to see. As a longtime listener, I've come to know your personas as you present yourself on the podcast and have a natural curiosity about that last puzzle piece to fill out the mental picture of you two. And you want to take the next paragraph?
The reality, as I see it, is this. While I am curious about what you two look like, the reality is that you, like all of us, have an alternate reality that is your previous and present life outside of naturism. I'm okay waiting to run into you someday or not. We all know that this penchant of ours to live life without clothes, when possible, isn't something everyone in our life understands. I appreciate the podcast and fear that your coming out in regard to actual images would complicate something that seems to be a labor of love for you two.
Yeah, nothing complicated. We're just radio people. And even when I was in terrestrial radio, my picture was hardly ever out there. People tuned in to hear me, not to see me. So it's just a mindset. And we have no problem being out there at all.
No.
And then he finishes up as a possible compromise for those that just have to know. How about a caricature of you two that would satisfy the basic vibe of who you are without outing you to the rest of your life, past and present? Thanks for giving me your time to hear my thoughts. And again, it's not about outing. We're already out there. Yeah. Everybody in our lives, personally and professionally, knows we do this show. We're naked for all the right reasons and all that good stuff. And that is by Clint. You know, Lisa, we could, our guest today, RENE Bellamy, part 2, we could hire him to do a caricature of the two of us. Now that he's seen me, he has not seen you yet, so we'd have to rectify that. And maybe that's the way to go, according to Clint, to get a caricature. How about that?
Well, no, that might not be a bad idea. I kind of like that idea, actually. And that's something we could, put out there. So maybe we should have a chat with RENE.
I think so. We'll talk to him soon. We have a letter from David Proctor, and he starts off, "Hi," and that's it. That's his entire greeting. And in parentheses, note, clear avoidance of naming a favorite host. Well, he's a pretty smart guy.
Oh, and apparently he has one, but he's just not going to admit it.
Well, I think we know who it is, Lisa. Thank you very much, David, for not embarrassing Lisa and putting me first. Anyway, if you can gain your composure, would you like to read paragraph 1?
Yes. Okay. Excuse me. I shall do this.
Right.
I really enjoy your podcast and am an avid listener. And have not missed a single episode from the first. Wow, thank you. My favorite was on a Saturday, the first time I stayed overnight at my home resort and listened to you in the Nude while walking around carefree at Mountaineer Ranch. I am also a member of the Rocky Mountain Naturists. I love the attention you give my club and its founder, Jeff Jackson, and my co-member, Dustin Cox. It's like I'm hanging out with celebrities. These fellas are a big, important part of my naturist journey.
Yeah, Jeff Jackson and Dustin Cox, both friends of the show, both have been on the show, and both big-time movers and shakers within Anna, both for Anna West. Jeff Jackson is the vice president. Dustin is on the board. He's also the PR guy. And Jeff Jackson is the owner-founder of Rocky Mountain Naturist. Dustin is a member. He goes on, "Naturism is therapeutic for me in my recovery from a stressful career path that I changed about 5 years ago. I didn't even know how messed up my life and my psyche had become. I'm still recovering, but consider myself on the path to a more healthy life." You want to take it from there?
I have been told repeatedly by my wife who isn't ever going to participate and is not ideal, but she tolerates me participating. I keep hope alive. I don't pressure her, but I do try to make her jealous of the activist benefits I'm enjoying.
In that spirit, I would love to get that list of famous naturists you spoke of on the January 7 show. I would love to share it with her, but it's too much to hope that she would listen with me. Thanks for all you both do and everyone else who is involved in producing this wonderful show. And thanks, David Proctor.
Yes.
And I did send him the list from the 7th, but I also sent him the list from the 14th because he asked for that too. So that's great. And he doesn't think he can get his wife to sit down and, hey, listen, honey, let's sit down and listen to this show. And all these famous naked people, they're out there doing it. Why don't you try it? So he thought, if I can just get the list and kind of sneak it under the door or put it next to her ham and eggs in the morning, maybe it'll open a window. So it's not the worst scenario. She's not a naturist, doesn't want to go, but has no problem with him being nude and going. So that's, I guess they're halfway there, and maybe this will open the door. We'll check with him down the road. Any thoughts on David before we move to the next one?
We've talked a lot about relationships and how, they can make or break someone's experience as a naturist. And so the fact that she is comfortable with him doing it and seems to trust that everything's the way naturism is, then I think that's fabulous. And I hope that maybe she'll come around and enjoy it. And it goes back to what we talked about when we did the list. Guess what? If these people who are naturists, who are on this list that have this celebrity and this bully pulpit that they can talk to a wide range of people, if they just say, hey, I'm a naturist, it's great, I don't understand what the fuss is, and go on, then we might start to change some mindsets. But so far, they're not doing what we need them to do.
Yeah. Although they are out there.
They're at least admitting it, yes.
And again, we thank David Proctor for that letter. And best wishes there with Rocky Mountain Naturist, Anna West, and of course your wife getting involved. And it's sometimes a slow process, but hang in there. At least he's trying. He could have said, okay, honey, forget it. Sit home and watch TV. I'm going to the nudist resort, but he's still trying to get her involved. So good for him.
Yes.
We have another letter from Bob. Let's see if I get this last name right. Mondragon. It's M-O-N Dragon. Letter from Bob Mondragon. And he starts off, good morning. Oh, shoot. See, Bob, I should have read this more carefully. Good morning, Lisa and Frank. Puts me last. My celebrity nudist podcast. Okay. All right. I'll accept that, Bob. You're in good graces again. And he talks for a little bit about he wants to make a purchase and how does it get shipped and all that good stuff. I love all that you do and never miss an episode. Now, here's the part that I got a kick out of when he said P.S. Do you want to read that or you want me to?
Oh, well, you go ahead. Yeah, no, I'll do it. Okay.
All right.
I'll do it. You might cut that out. You see, Bob says, P.S. Why doesn't Frank ever cook for Lisa? She brings in baked goods all the time. I bet Frank could whip up a mean baked ziti dish easily. Yeah. Why don't you?
So many ways I could answer this question. Let's say if I never cook for Lisa, there's a whole bunch that I do for Lisa behind the scenes that I think she's okay. Are you okay? Or do you need me to
I'm
cook?
okay. And I will say this to Bob. Frank does make a pretty mean pizza from scratch. So, nothing at all wrong with that. And as far as a baked ziti goes, not bad spaghetti too. So I think we'll leave him alone. And pancakes.
Yeah.
Good pancakes.
Yeah, the pizza is my calling card, I guess, because I'll make dinner, have somebody over, 2 or 3 people, whatever. Hey, I made some whatever, and they'll say, "No thanks, we ate a 50-course meal before we came. But thanks," or "No thanks, we'll just stop at Taco Bell on the way home." It's like, whoa, what the heck? But if I make pizza, you guys want some pizza? Oh, you made your pizza? Oh, yeah, can I have 10 slices? So apparently, there's something special about my pizza, and nothing special about anything else that I cook.
Well, like I said, you make good pancakes. You make, I think you've attempted brownies before. Attempted.
Yeah.
And the pizza's stellar. So, we'll forgive you for that.
Yeah. Well, brownies I can make, out of the box. I mean,
yes.
Come on, you got to be pretty close to brain dead to not pull that off, which I've been accused of that too. So let's just move on.
Yes.
We have one more letter. This is from Alex. Very smart guy. Hello, Frank and Lisa, or Lisa and Frank. See, he's hedging his bet. Let's see which one's ready to come after him. He covered himself both ways. And then says, I don't want to be the reason for you discussing who likes me more.
Okay. Now that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
he
like
says,
that.
I discovered your show about a year ago and liked it from the first show that I listened to. Since then, I started listening to the show from the beginning, episode number one, and continued chronologically until I'm now up to date. Well,
Yay.
very good, Alex. You want to take it from there?
And I think it's time now that I write you and thank you for your great job. For me, as a longtime naturist, nudist, and he's an FKK fan from Germany,
Mhm.
I think it's very interesting to hear what you and your guests have to say and the experiences and problems you're facing in the U.S. and elsewhere around the world. With some of these, we here in Germany have to deal with as well, but others are unthinkable because public nudity is much more accepted here.
Yep. And he said, "This is all from me for now, but if you're interested in getting in touch with me, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to share my thoughts and ideas as well as give you insight on my story, how I became a nudist, as well as anything around FKK in Germany. I wish you a nice weekend and a happy new year, Alex from Germany." And he gave us permission to use his, read his letter and use his name. And we did talk to Alex, and he is going to come on the show. I don't have the dates in front of me, but not too distant future. We kind of sneaking him in because he has so much to say on nudism, naturism, FKK, and what's going on in Germany as it compares to everybody else. Any final thoughts on Alex?
No, I'm just really excited to have someone from Germany that we can talk to because the Germans have kind of been in the forefront of naturism and for a long time, and I think it's really important to hear from them and how they do things. And again, it enriches us all to know how other world countries are doing things and how other people approach this. And it also makes us a little sad in the U.S. that we are not actually able to participate in the same level, but it'll be great to hear from him.
Yeah, and we go back to that old bugaboo, and people talk about normalizing naturism, and we like to say it's already normal. We're just trying to make sure people know about it or open their eyes to the fact that it's normal, because again, that's how we were born. If God wanted us to be clothed, He would have had us in tuxedos and evening gowns when we were born, but He didn't. He had us. You ready for it? Let's say it together. Everybody naked as jaybirds.
Jaybird. And now we know what that means.
Yes, absolutely. And that is how we were intended to live. And society got involved, and businesses, hey, we could leave them naked and make no money, or we could convince them naked is bad and make billions and billions of dollars. And you can see what they did.
Yes.
Germany has it together. We certainly do not in the USA, but we're pushing and we're out there fighting every day to make this mainstream, I guess, is a good enough word. I mean, everything else is accepted. You can wear whatever, jewelry, a baseball hat backwards in church. When I was a kid, if you got within 100 feet of a church with a hat on as a guy, you got it slapped off your head. Oh. Now you can sit in the front row and baseball hat backward or off to the side.
Yeah.
And nobody even bats an eye anymore. But being naked, oh, well, we can't have that. I mean, God created it, but please. And so we're out there, and we'll have Alex on the show down the road. Sound good to you?
It sounds fabulous. I'm looking forward to hearing from him.
All right. Well, Lisa Monroe, let's get on to part 2 of my interview with RENE Bellamy, and I'll maybe hit him up about drawing us.
Okay. Sounds good.
Caricature out there. And if you promise to stay clothes-free, we'll have you back at the end of the show. Do you promise?
I will promise to stay clothes-free, and I will be back.
All right. We'll grab some more coffee, and we'll see you at the end of the show.
Yes, sir.
The very terrific Lisa Monroe. She does it all around here, and we are going to invite her back for Wednesday's show. How about that? And we appreciate Lisa Monroe for all that she does. As a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, that is great. But if not, you can become one right now. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation to membership, and within moments, you will be a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation. How about that for a deal on a Saturday morning? Well, you are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 163. We really thank you for being with us, enjoying clothes-free living for all of the right reasons for the entire hour. And now let's get to part 2 of my interview with RENE Bellamy, Naturism artist/cartoonist from Vancouver. Part 2 with the very terrific RENE Bellamy. I'm looking at the one right now, Brian and Nelson. They're facing each other and shaking hands. And the caption with the photo is "See more of your friends."
Yeah.
Your caption down below, it sounds like a joke, but when you really consider it, we really do see more of our nudist friends. And then you talk about, how it quickly breaks down from, what do you do? And, what do you think? And it's just, and we've said this on the show a zillion times. It's just you and it's just him, or it's just you and her, or whatever, right to the core, and you get there right away because there are no pretenses, there's no hiding, there's no wearing a certain piece of clothing to enhance this or lessen that. It's just, here I am, baby, accept me as I am. And now we can have a conversation right at the beginning. It sounds like you've noticed that over the years as well.
Yeah. Thinking of the people I've met down on Rock Beach, for example, there are so many that I don't know what they do, but I, had quite deep conversations with them. And I, in a closed environment, I think that, what do you do is like the first question out of your mouth, isn't it? Uh, and yeah, it's quite an interesting difference. How quickly you will have I don't know, necessarily want to say deeper conversation, but a more about who you are than what you are kind of a conversation.
That's a good way to put it. I was told some years ago that it's rude to ask somebody what they do for a living, even though everybody asks that question, not in the naturism community, but just in general. My name is Bill. I'm Tom. Hey, what do you do? Well, I work at, and then you start talking about work. I guess it's a great opener because it really doesn't matter overall. Whatever he does for a living is not going to affect me most likely, and vice versa. But I was told it's rude because some people don't want to talk about that. Well, in the naturism world, we don't talk about that, do we?
Well, I wouldn't say it's verboten, but it seems to be there are other things to talk about, and you seem to be able to come up with them easier.
That's exactly it. There was a show, I think it was in November. I can't even remember now. I was interviewing somebody. So it was during the interview where I told the story. I met this guy at a nudist club. We ended up talking about sports. And we ended up talking for a long time, well over an hour. And when we were done, the person I had gone there with said, "Wow, I didn't realize you knew him so well." And so I didn't know him at all. We just met here and we started talking because we have a mutual like for various sports teams. And she said, "Do you know who that is?" I said, "Well, no. I mean, I think his name was Bill in retrospect." I said, "His name was Bill. That's all I know." And she said, "He is a sitting U.S. congressman." And she told me what area he was from. I had no idea. I was sitting next to a congressman talking for an hour about sports, both of us clothes free. Could that have happened anywhere in life with clothes on? I'm guessing not. What do you think?
Yeah, probably not.
No.
But yeah, so I find that especially people in politics, they are very, for the most part, particular about the way they dress. So, what obviously not in that case, but normally, you'd see. Well, I had met one of our ministers or of the local province here several times, and he was always dressed in at least a sports jacket and looked really nice. And you wouldn't mistake him for a barista at Starbucks, shall we say?
Yeah. There's another one I'm looking at. You look best naked. And that's your two main people, Brian and Liz. And you just put it right on the line there. Clothes look better on the rack than on almost anybody. So better to keep them there. And that's true because we use clothes to change what our body looks like. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, make this bigger, make that smaller, make this not as noticeable, make this more noticeable. And it's just a big game we play. And I had to play the game for a long time in the corporate world. Kind of like the guys, the politicians you just mentioned, always had to be well dressed. I always had to be well dressed, and I hated every second of it. I mean, on the one hand, I was wearing decent clothes, and yeah, sure, I look great. But at the same time, I thought this is really dumb. I'm just me. These people think I'm somebody else because of the way I'm dressed. That to me is one of the biggest differences between having your clothes on and clothes feeling for all the right reasons. You are you when your clothes are off, and you could be almost anybody when your clothes are on, right?
Yeah, I guess you could be putting on airs
Yeah, and of course a lot of people do, and then we don't get to
Mhm.
know them, and it snowballs downward, I guess. So you certainly have your thinking in gear here. We're talking to RENE Bellamy today. He's a gentleman who did the drawing of Lisa and myself that we featured on a show back in November, I believe. And he drew us according to what he thought we looked like based upon our voices and presentations. And he believes he got pretty close, and I'm going to go with that, RENE Bellamy. You know more about art than I do. Uh, how can people find you? What is your website? Any other ways they can get a hold of you?
It's actually a little bit difficult. My social media is on Mastodon these days because I'm steering clear of big social,
Okay.
and a lot of people don't know about that at all. And but on there, I'm Renudist at sunny.garden.
Okay.
And so you can reach me that way. And then I guess the other way is just through the Clothes Tree Life site, and
Okay.
that's where my cartoons are posted. I'm also renudist@gmail.com if you want to send me an email, and
That's easy enough.
that would
Yeah.
be another way. Yeah.
We have a site here, naturistcartoons.closeFreeLife.com. Is that a good way to find you as well?
Yep. You can find all my major cartoons are there. Yeah.
We have a regular listener. He's been on the show. I think he was on for two separate interviews, but we've played audio clips of him a lot. He's an author, and we play his clips every time a new book comes out. And that is Paul Z. Walker, and he is really big into Mastodon. Posts our show there
Yep.
every time a new show comes up.
That's how I found out about you.
Oh, really? On Mastodon?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't. Okay. Well, tell our listeners, what is Mastodon all about, and why is it different than, let's say, Twitter and Blue Sky?
So Mastodon is one of a number of different programs that implement a protocol. If you think about email is actually a protocol. It's a way for two programs to communicate with one another. And
Okay.
Mastodon is a program, it's the most popular one that implements a social networking protocol. And what that enables you to do is have many social networks that you can communicate between. So I belong to a social network called sunny.garden. And then Paul belongs to, he has a couple of accounts. One is on body.social, which is a special social network within the network of networks that is aimed at naturists. And our two networks know how to communicate with one another. Most of and that network of networks is called the Fediverse, FEDI verse, after federated verse. and so I can see the things that Paul posts on body.social. They get fed into my feed, and he can see the things that I post on sunny.garden in his feed. Another key component of the Fediverse is that you can take your account and all of your followers and everything and move it from one network to another network. So if you think about, you've built up a following on, say, Blue Sky, and if you wanted to move that to Twitter, then you would have to. I don't know how you'd even do that. You'd have to tell other people on Blue Sky, "Hey, I'm shutting down my Blue Sky account. Follow me over on Twitter." And with the Fediverse, uh, that is automated.
Oh,
And
okay.
the outcome of that is that people can and do move if they decide that the rules on their local network aren't ones that they like. So, for example, if you were if you want to be on a network that posted nudes, and the moderator of your network said, or the owner of your network said, "Well, that's not something that we have on our network anymore. So I'm sorry, Frank, you're not allowed to post nudes." You know, in big social, you have two choices. You can carry on anyway and hope they don't notice, or you can just stop. Those are your choices.
Yeah.
And when they do notice, they'll kick you off, and then you stopped.
Yeah.
And in the Fediverse, you have a third choice, which is, well, I'll go find someone else that does allow that, and all my followers will come with me. It's like my network has stayed intact, I just move on.
Okay.
And I think that's actually a big problem with big social is that you can't move your account, and so you once you're in there, you're kind of locked in. You can't if you don't like the rules, then there's nothing you can do about it, really.
Yeah. So on Mastodon, which I had never heard of before until Paul Z. Walker brought it to my attention, and now he, as I mentioned, he posts our show there all the time. How do people find that, or how do they join that? Is there a fee, or you just go in and sign up, or what?
And most of it is run by volunteers.
Okay.
And so a lot of them will want, well, ask for donations occasionally to cover the running of the servers. There are some that are set up as cooperatives. There's another one that is run by a local group here called cosocial.ca. I think there's a site called something like Get Mastodon. I think probably if you just Google Mastodon, and you'd probably find it pretty quickly.
Okay. But you've left Twitter and Blue Sky, or are you still on one of them? Or what?
I never went to Blue Sky.
Okay.
When there was the great migration, when Elon first bought Twitter and started shutting down all the safety protocols for Twitter, I decided I was going to leave. And at that time, I had fairly recently read a book called The Ministry of the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson, which is a hopeful book about how we can change the world to be not on the path that it's on. And one of the things that it recognizes is how bad social media is for us as a society. The big social media basically feed off of people being angry at one another, and so they foment that anger. And I want to be part of the solution. So I've moved to Mastodon, and I promote it whenever I can.
Yeah. We have a guy in the United States, I won't give his name or location, but he's one of the most popular radio people in the country. Now, he has a local radio show, so his popularity is not countrywide, but his ratings are amongst the top in the country in terms of local shows. And he was on Twitter when he first started his show 20-some years ago. And he said one day at Thanksgiving, I think he was, I don't know if he was sitting at the Thanksgiving dinner table yet, or he was with his family, though. He thought, well, I better fire up Twitter, see if anybody's written in about the show or whatever. And some guy was attacking him, saying, I can't believe you said this the other day on the show, and I'm going to come to your house, and listed all the bad things he was going to do to him. And he said, you have to be kidding me. He goes, I'm doing a radio show trying to help people get through life, and this guy is basically threatening to beat me up and kill me. He said, that's it. I'm out. And that was probably 15 years ago. He dropped, only Twitter was available then, but he said, I'm not going to put myself out there so somebody can say hateful things, which to me now, see if you agree with this, things that are said on Twitter, Blue Sky, and elsewhere, we never said those things before social media came along because we'd have to say them face to face. And
that's right.
Nobody says that stuff face to face because you're liable to get punched in the nose or other bad things that might happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's part of the erosion of our society has happened over the past 20 so years.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And I was tempted to tell this one guy who wrote to us just hateful stuff, not even worthy of reading or discussing, just hate on top of hate on top of hate. I want to say, would you be willing to come with me to my attorney's office and say that again? That would, of course, shut it down right away because you would never say that face to face, and you would never say it in front of an attorney who's representing the guy you're promoting hate on, because a lot of your day will not go well. Let's put it that way in terms of the courts. But yeah, hopefully, I say hopefully we'll get away from that, but we never will. People are embedded. They're having a bad day. I'll go on Twitter and just say something nasty about somebody. Well, okay, great.
It's gotten worse with big social media because they've realized that people engage with that.
Yeah.
And so they promote the anger and the hate more in your feed than it would otherwise come to. And with Mastodon and the Fediverse, because the only feed you have is chronological and completely curated by yourself. There's no one putting things into your feed that you didn't ask for, except for people that you ask to put into your feeds. That's sort of how you discover things. Um, you, you don't get the promoted hate that you would get on Facebook and Meta and Twitter, where they know what they're doing. They're trying to keep you engaged as long as they possibly can, so they can sell your attention.
Yeah.
And your Mastodon host is not interested necessarily in selling you. Well, it's not interested at all, because there's no way for them to do it, just in selling your attention.
Yeah. Can you respond to people on Mastodon as we do on Twitter?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You can even DM people as well.
Okay. So you could say, if somebody sees a RENE Bellamy drawing, they can say, hey, great drawing because this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
That'll make its way into the feed. But if they say something hateful, what happens then? You can just eliminate it, or what?
I can block them, or I can mute them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Honestly, nobody ever does.
Yeah.
Anything awful. One of the social mores of the Fediverse is something called a content warning.
Okay.
So my drawings come up blurred, so no one's going to see it unless they click through and say, yeah, I want to see that drawing of the naturist. And but it is generally it's a kinder, gentler place than Twitter and Blue Sky and Facebook.
Oh, sure sounds like it. Now, going through all of the drawings that you have on your site, every single one of them features naturism, nudity, naked bodies, clothes for a living for all the right reasons, as we like to say. But none of them are inappropriate in any way whatsoever. But have you still gotten feedback from other people like, I can't believe you're putting naked bodies out there. What's wrong with you?
Never.
Oh, good.
I've never had that feedback at all.
Good. And you shouldn't, because you're not doing anything inappropriate. You're just putting the human body out there, again, as we were born, clothes free.
Yeah.
And one of the ones I like, women should appreciate this one a lot, break the chains of the oppressor, and talk about basically how people over the years, and probably men, have put restrictions on women, having to wear a burqa and wear a bra and so on and so forth. And I know even when I was a kid, my mom always dressed well to go to work because of what she did. And she had high heels on. And she would always complain about that. Oh, these heels are killing my feet. And I heard that enough times. I finally said, well, why do you wear them? And she said, well, we're just supposed to. That's how we're expected to dress at work. And even as a kid, I thought, well, that's the dumbest reason I've ever heard in my life, because somebody else told you you're supposed to. That's what you do. And so that's one of the restrictions too. Probably, as you mentioned in your comment there, basically men put that on women. Hey, you want to get ahead in the world, in the corporate world, honey, get some high heels on and look your best. Now we're going back, a bunch of years ago. That wouldn't happen today. But that's one of those examples, right? What are you wearing a bra for? What are you wearing a burqa for? What are you wearing high heels for if you don't want to? Is that kind of how you see this?
Yeah, well, I'd go further back and deeper than that. I think that if you look at the origins of clothes and the reason why the church, and sort of the original church that we still prescribe to primarily, is the Christian church. And I'm not a Christian, so I don't really know very much about it. But the reason why, you've pointed out many times in the show that in Christ's times, in biblical times, people wore clothes when they needed to.
Mm-hmm.
If you were working in the garden, you shucked your clothes. If you were fishing, you probably didn't have any clothes on.
Right.
And it wasn't until about the 7th century that they decided, well, hang on a second, we've just got to start wearing clothes. And the belief is that the reason for that was to stop people from being in control. They want people, in the 7th century, was, I need to control people so that I can make them do violence to each other.
Yeah.
And the sort of one for sure aspect of control, that if they give that up, then I've got sort of control over everything, is their bodily autonomy. Yeah. And so that's when they started forcing the clothes thing. And they forced it through Christian, the church. And then the other churches, I guess Judaism predates Christianity by a couple thousand years. But, the Muslim church and subsequent belief structures have followed on. perhaps even more. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's pretty much what's going on. Things have been forced upon us and enforced against us. And you're trying to change all that, not necessarily single-handedly, but through your drawings. Choose Nude. I think it's a great title for what you do, because you have lots of choices in life. You can wear this, that, or the other thing, and go on, online or even into stores and find gazillions of pairs of pants or dresses or shirts or whatever. Or you can just make it really simple and choose Nude, right?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
simplifies so many choices in life.
Yeah. What are you thinking about now? You told us earlier in the interview you're thinking about putting all of these into a book. Is that something you hope to see to fruition reasonably soon, or is that down the road?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sort of starting to run out of ideas
Yeah.
for different cartoons. So I'm thinking about pulling them together into a book. Mostly just to sort of put a pin in the project. Here it is, it's done. And I have an idea for the next sequence.
Yeah.
So I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done much more than that, and I would include a little caption like I do, and I post them on social media.
Yeah.
And I would probably, being as it's a book, I'd probably want to put a bit of formality behind those, that sources and so on. In some cases, I've lost the original source for the idea, so I'd have to, go back and find something that I could footnote as to, that what I just talked about the 7th century and the changes in the the church that made it necessary to wear clothes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
The one you have there uh, about getting a haircut, streamline the cleanup after your haircut. If
Yeah.
you get your haircut while you're nude.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can only speak from a man's standpoint. I don't know how women get their hair cut or what the procedures are there. But for men, when I walk out of a barber shop, I have hair all over me. I can feel it on my neck for sure. I can see it on my shirt, my pants. Even though I use a blower to get most of it away, it's still there. Well, if you have no clothes on, yeah, you just wipe it off and move out, right?
Yeah. There used to be someone on Wreck Beach that cut hair. You'd sit on a log and they'd cut your hair, and then you could just go dive in the ocean.
That's the way to do it. For a long time, I was going to this one barber, and all of the barbers were women. It was owned by a woman. I think there was a guy there. In fact, I know there was a guy there when I started. And he's actually the one who was cutting my hair, and then he left, so we're left with all women. Well, it's a pretty good shop, and the owner took me on as one of her clients. And they had a tendency to be a little physically friendly, but not overtly. It's like, what kind of place is this? And at one point, she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I bumped into your arm there," with her chest. I thought, "Yeah, oh, okay, yeah." I said, "Yeah, I'm just here for the haircut." And then I think she took offense to that, and she said, "Well, what if I opened a naked barber shop? Would you come then?" And I thought, "Lady, you have no idea who you're talking to. I'd be your first customer." So, yeah, it just people, it's easy for us to say people need to get over themselves, but we can't say that because they're individuals. But wouldn't it be great if they did? Like, okay, clothes are off. I'm me. I'm not anybody else or pretending to be anybody else. Yeah, I think the world would be a much happier place. I'm guessing you agree.
I 100% agree, and I also believe that it's necessary if we're going to survive the uh, changes that are coming to the world,
Mm.
where clothes are responsible for so much pollution and so much water usage and so much energy usage that we need to get over ourselves and wear a lot less of them and use a lot less of them than we do.
Yeah, and as I've noticed, and I can say this with some level of authority because I've been doing this for a long time. Uh, People without their clothes on are just nicer, friendlier people. Now, I don't know what they're like with their clothes on because a lot of the people I never see with their clothes on, maybe they're total jerks when they're at work or at home, but in naturist community, they're just always nicer and friendlier. There has to be something to that, right? Psychologically.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think that being a naturist, you have perhaps a greater feeling for other people you know, and that makes you probably nicer. And
Yeah.
I think you're more self-confident. You don't feel the same stresses that people uh, that are closed all the time feel.
Yeah.
And that would also make you a nicer person.
Yeah. And again, we've been talking to RENE Bellamy today from Vancouver. He's a gentleman who did a drawing of Lisa and myself. We promoted on the show and posted on Blue Sky and Twitter and Patreon what he believes that we looked like, because he had never seen us before. He has seen me now, and I'm kind of afraid to see the next drawing that you do, RENE Bellamy, but we'll let that go for now. But if people should ask if you're okay with being dishonest, just say, "Oh gosh, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Robert Redford, Brad Pitt thing is true." You could say that. I'm just kidding. And you do great work with these nudist cartoons or drawings. Is it okay to call them a cartoon in the art world, or are they drawings? How do you prefer to think of them?
I call them cartoons because I think that is the style of drawing that they are.
Okay.
I think a cartoon is a type of drawing.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I just don't want to be using the wrong term and offend you in any way. So these nudist cartoons, not only a great drawing and great use of colors and everything else that you do, but each drawing comes with a message pasted right on the drawing itself, and then with a caption below. Just amazing work, RENE Bellamy. And before we let you go, tell our listeners again how they can find all of your work and find out more about you.
So all my work is available on Naturist Cartoons at naturistcartoons.closefreelife.com. And you can reach me on Mastodon at Nudist at sunny.garden.
Okay. Well, great to have you on the show. Thank you for the drawing of us a few months ago. And just keep up the great work and keep promoting naturism as much as you are. And RENE Bellamy, go out there and have a great close-free day. We'll talk again soon.
Okay. It's such a pleasure to meet you, Frank. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you. Bye. The very terrific naturism cartoonist / artist RENE Bellamy from Vancouver. And we thank RENE Bellamy for all of his time on these last two Saturday shows. And on the next two Saturday shows, which will be episodes 165 and 167, our special guests will be Matt and Megan from Nude Beach Map. And before we head for the hills until Wednesday's show, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
It's good to be back, and that was a great interview.
Yeah.
I just love creative people like artists and musicians and all that, and so it's really great to hear from someone who has that passion for art.
Yeah. In 120 drawings so far, and you know darn well there are more to come. And if you read through each one has a message about naturism and maybe about the world itself. And so there's more than just drawing. There's a whole lot of deep thinking that goes in. And he certainly earned our respect around here with his talent, his knowledge, and his work ethic. And I know that you agree.
Absolutely. I mean, because, what I've always heard that, people say they don't have time to do things. Well, guess what? Yes, you do.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side of that coin is the busier you are, the more you can get done, because you learn to just keep going. And if you don't keep going, then you're never going to get anything accomplished. So
that's right.
Keeping that balance and of life and art and work and everything else is not easy, but he's doing very well with it.
Yeah, he is. And then on the next two shows, our special guests will be Megan and Matt. They're from Nude Beach Map. They've mapped out all of the resorts and beaches and places to be naked throughout the world, and more are coming in all the time. So we'll talk to them over the next few shows. Should be great. And Lisa Monroe, with that, if you promise to stay clothes-free and return clothes-free on Wednesday, we'll see you on Wednesday. Is that a deal?
And it sounds good. I will try to stay clothes-free from now until then, but that may have to falter a couple of times, but I will be mostly clothes-free.
All right. Sounds good. See you then.
Bye.
Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 163 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.